expecting not to sleep a wink. He awoke to the sound of movement nearby. His eyes flew open, but he resisted the instinct to jump up and grab his weapons. He probably hadn't been found yet, which meant he still had surprise on his side. His heart pounded. He was fully alert, with no somnolent transition from sleep to wakefulness. He noted with amazement that it was dawn, and he had slept dreamlessly for the whole night. The sounds of rustling in the leaf litter grew closer. He prepared to spring into action, to take his chances against however many of the enemy were there, and, hopefully, do enough damage and spread enough chaos to be able to slip away. A shape emerged from the undergrowth a few feet away. A large boar, snuffling through the leaf litter for roots and slugs. Even as Silus let out a breath of relief, his stomach clenched as he thought of spit roast pork and his mouth watered. He slowly reached towards the knife at his belt, then hesitated. It was a big fellow, with sharp tusks, and wouldn't fall easily. Silus had no bow on this mission, and even if he was able to jump on the animal and overcome it, man to beast, the racket from the tussle and the screams from the boar, and hopefully not from himself, would carry for miles. He relaxed and waited for the creature to move on, heart sinking as it retreated out of reach. Then he emerged from his hideout, rotated his head in an attempt to remove the crick in his neck, which seemed to have become permanent, and walked disconsolately over to his snares. The first was empty, but to his delight the second contained a squirrel weakly struggling, the wire biting deep into its throat. Silus quickly snapped its neck and used his knife to skin and gut it. Making a fire was clearly out of the question, both because of the risk of detection and the impossibility of starting a flame in this rainfall. He said a brief prayer to Valitudo, goddess of personal health, that the squirrel was not diseased, then another to Apollo, god of sun and healing, on the off chance he might send a break in the clouds, as well as protect him from food poisoning. Then he devoured the raw squirrel flesh, not attempting to savour it, just gulping down the chunks of meat. Silus remembered the first time he had eaten raw squirrel. It was during a long hunt in the forests with his father, when he had been just 5 years old, still living with his family and others of the tribe of the Brigantes. The slimy texture had made him vomit it straight up. His father had beaten him, then made him eat what he had just puked. He had kept it down the second time. Father, he thought, you really were a bastard. Still, the skills his father had taught him were the reason why he was of so much use to the legions, and why he was out here now. So, that's one more thing to hate you for, Father. Silus buried the remains of his meal, refilled his water skin, retrieved his snares, relieved his bladder and bowels, and looked up. He could see through the canopy, as the oaks and birches were not yet even in bud, only the pine trees providing greenery. But the sky was a uniform grey, with no indication of the direction in which the sun might be rising. He turned his attention to the trees. In more open spaces, it was possible to work out which was south from the predominance of the branches growing towards the light, but in this dense woodland, most of the trees just struggled upwards for a glimpse of the sun. The same went for the moss, which he knew grew predominantly on the north, the shadier side of the tree. But here all was shade, and the moss grew wherever it liked. Silus shrugged, picked a direction he guessed was northerly, and set off. After half a day of tramping through leaf litter that hid treacherous roots and foxholes, the trees abruptly thinned, and within moments he found himself at the edge of the tree line. And there, ahead and to his right, was the hill fort of Toonvade. It had to be Toonvade. There were no other settlements that big.